Let me tell you something, right off the bat. There's a frequency you operate on, a certain resonance that most folks just skim past. They're caught in the surface noise, the static of everyday annoyances, the constant buzz of being bothered. You feel it too, don't you? That low hum of irritation, the prickle of frustration when things don't go just right, when people act in ways that just grate. It steals your energy, clouds your focus, chips away at that deep well of peace you know is inside you. Most people think this is just life. They accept being tossed around by external events, by other people's moods, by the sheer unpredictability of it all. They get hooked on the drama, maybe even find a strange comfort in the complaint, the shared sigh of exasperation. It becomes a habit, a default setting. They believe the solution lies out there, in changing the circumstances, controlling the uncontrollable, silencing the world. But you're searching not just for temporary relief, but for something solid, something unshakable, a peace that doesn't crumble when the wind blows. You're looking for the method, the way, to navigate this chaotic world without letting it constantly pierce your calm. And that's why you're here, because you're ready to understand the real reasons you get bothered, the hidden mechanics beneath the surface irritation. It's not just about willpower, not just about gritting your teeth and ignoring it. No, the truth is more intricate, more profound, and ultimately, more empowering. We're about to pull back the curtain on why that feeling of being bothered has such a grip, and more importantly, how you can systematically dismantle its power over you. Stick with me, because the path to unshakable inner peace, it starts now. We're going deep.
Why you might be secretly addicted to being bothered.
All right, let's get into the guts of it.
This feeling, this state of being bothered, it feels like an external attack, doesn't it? Someone cuts you off in traffic. A colleague drops the ball. The news cycle screams negativity. And boom, there it is. That familiar wave of irritation, maybe even anger. It feels imposed upon you. But what if I told you? What if a part of you, deep down, is actually seeking it out? Not consciously, of course, but on a primal neurological level. Unpacking the brain's reward. See, our brains are wired for survival, for seeking rewards. And sometimes, believe it or not, outrage, annoyance, that feeling of righteous indignation, it triggers a little hit, a tiny, fleeting pulse from the brain's reward system, dopamine. It's the same chemical involved in pleasure, motivation, and addiction. When you react, when you feel that surge of being right and someone else being wrong, your brain can register that as a form of validation, a micro-reward. It reinforces the pattern. You get bothered, you react, you get a tiny neurochemical blip that says, yeah, pay attention to this. Over time, without you even realizing it, you can develop a subconscious habit, an addiction to the feeling of being bothered. It's not just the amygdala, the fear center getting hijacked. It's the reward pathways subtly whispering, more of this matters. It's a sneaky trap, keeping you hooked on the very thing that drains your peace.
Identifying the irritation signature. Let me tell you about Sarah. 40s, sharp woman, successful. But her commute, it was her personal hell. Every morning, the traffic, the slow drivers, the people weaving, it would send her blood pressure soaring. She'd arrive at work already depleted, tense, ready to snap. She tried everything, podcasts, deep breaths, leaving earlier. Nothing stuck. The bother was relentless. Then, working with a coach, she dug deeper. It wasn't just traffic.
It was a specific feeling underneath, a feeling of being powerless, of her time being disrespected, stolen. That was her irritation signature. Once she named that specific feeling, not just the surface anger, something shifted. She realized the traffic wasn't personally attacking her sense of control. It was just traffic. By getting granular with the emotion, by understanding the real trigger wasn't the cars but her internal reaction to feeling powerless, she started to detach. She couldn't control the traffic, but she could control her interpretation of that feeling of powerlessness. It wasn't easy, took practice, but identifying that signature, that was the key that unlocked the cage. It's the power of emotional granularity, naming the precise shade of your feeling, not just painting it all with the broad brush of annoyed.
The Stoic Alternative. And this ties right into a fundamental truth, something the old Stoics knew centuries ago. We crave control. We desperately want to manage the world around us, make it predictable, make it bend to our will. We think if we can just arrange everything perfectly, then we won't be bothered. But that pursuit, it's a setup. It's chasing a ghost. Epictetus, one of the greats, laid it out plain. Some things are up to us, others are not. Our judgments, our impulses, our desires, our aversions, these are within our power. Our body, property, reputation, office, these are not. Trying to control what's not up to us, the traffic, other people's actions, the weather, the economy, is, as he put it, the act of a slave. It guarantees frustration. It guarantees being bothered. The alternative? Radical acceptance of what you cannot control and fierce focus on what you can. Your inner response, your interpretations, your choices. Letting go of the control illusion isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's where true freedom begins. It's realizing the fortress you need to build isn't outside, it's inside.
Halting the annoyance loop. Okay, so we know about the dopamine trap, the importance of naming the feeling, the fallacy of external control. But what do you do in the moment, when that trigger hits and you feel the familiar heat rising? You need a pattern interrupt, a way to stop the runaway train before it gathers speed. Here's a simple, powerful technique rooted in cognitive behavioral principles. Takes maybe 3 minutes. First, acknowledge. Silently say to yourself, okay, I'm feeling bothered. I notice the irritation. Don't judge it, just name it. Second, breathe. Take 3 slow, deliberate breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel your feet on the ground. Anchor yourself in the present moment, not in the swirling story of annoyance. Third, choose. Ask yourself, is reacting to this serving my peace? Is there a more constructive response? Maybe the response is simply to not engage, to consciously shift your focus, or to address the situation calmly later, if needed. Acknowledge, breathe, choose. ABC. It's a circuit breaker. It creates that crucial space Viktor Frankl talked about, the space between stimulus and response. Practicing this consistently rewires the habit loop. It puts you back in the driver's seat, not the fleeting dopamine hit or the illusion of control. It's your first line of defense in building that unshakable peace. Architecting your inner fortress against external storms. Now, people love to throw around that phrase, don't they? Just let it go. Sounds simple, easy, like flipping a switch. But you and I know it rarely works like that, especially when the storm is raging, when the comments sting, when the injustice feels raw. Telling someone drowning to just swim isn't helpful. Sometimes letting go feels like dismissing your own valid feelings, like pretending it doesn't hurt. And that's not the path to real peace. It's about building something stronger inside, architecting an inner fortress. Acceptance versus suppression. This relentless pressure to be positive, to only feel good vibes, it can be toxic. It denies the reality of human experience. Pain is real, frustration is real, anger is real. Trying to slap a smiley face sticker on deep-seated irritation doesn't make it disappear. It just shoves it underground where it festers. There's a profound difference between acceptance and suppression. Suppression is pushing it down, pretending it's not there. Acceptance, drawn from principles like those in acceptance and commitment therapy, is acknowledging the feeling without judgment. It's saying, okay, anger's here, disappointment is visiting. You don't have to like the feeling, you don't have to act on it impulsively, but you allow it to be present. Like an unwelcome guest, you observe calmly rather than wrestle with. Paradoxically, this acceptance often loosens the feeling's grip far more effectively than fighting it. It takes the fuel out of the fire. True strength isn't pretending the storm isn't happening, it's learning to stand steady within it. Cultivating inner locus of control. It's easy to feel like a victim when things go wrong, when people treat you poorly, when life throws curveballs. The narrative becomes, look what they did to me, or look what happened to me. This is an external locus of control. Believing your happiness and peace are primarily determined by outside forces. The shift, the real power move, is cultivating an internal locus of control. This doesn't mean denying external realities. It means recognizing that while you can't always control what happens, you always control your response, your interpretation, your next move. How do you cultivate this? Start small. Identify one recurring annoyance. Instead of focusing on changing the external trigger, focus entirely on managing your internal state when it happens. Practice that ABC interrupt. Choose a different thought. Focus on your breath. Each time you consciously manage your internal reaction to an external event, you are laying another brick in your inner fortress. You are shifting from being a passive recipient of circumstance to the active architect of your inner world. It's a deliberate, ongoing construction project. Marcus Aurelius's framework. These modern annoyances we face, the demanding boss, the noisy neighbor, the online trolls, they feel unique to our time. But the essence of dealing with difficult people and frustrating situations, the ancients wrestled with it too. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, writing in his Meditations nearly 2,000 years ago, offered a powerful framework. He reminded himself constantly, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. Now, that sounds harsh, but the point wasn't cynicism. It was preparation. He was managing his expectations. He then reminded himself that he possesses reason, that he understands good and evil, and that these difficult people are fundamentally like him, sharing the same divine spark, just misguided. He resolved not to be injured by them, because true injury is internal, a corruption of one's own character, and not to be angry with them. He saw interacting with them as a form of cooperation, like different parts of the body working together, even the challenging ones. Applying this today means anticipate difficulty without dread, remember your own values and reason, choose not to internalize negativity, and see interactions, even tough ones, as opportunities to practice virtue. It's about meeting external chaos with internal order.
Reinforcing your boundaries. Think of your emotional state like a house. How permeable are the walls? Do minor breezes, small annoyances, feel like gale-force winds inside? Does negativity from others seep in through the cracks? An emotional permeability audit is about assessing where your boundaries are weak. Grab a journal. Over the next few days, notice when you feel most bothered or emotionally affected by others or events. Ask yourself, what specifically triggered it? How did I react internally? Did I absorb the other person's mood? Did I let an external event dictate my inner state for hours? Where did my wall fail? This isn't about blame, it's about diagnosis. Maybe you realize you're overly permeable to criticism in your work. Maybe you absorb family members' anxiety too easily. Maybe news headlines hijack your peace. Once you identify the weak spots, you can start reinforcing them. This isn't about building impenetrable walls that shut everyone out. It's about installing filters, reinforcing foundations. It might mean consciously deciding not to engage in certain conversations, limiting exposure to specific triggers, practicing detachment, or reminding yourself, their mood is not my mood. Their chaos is not my chaos. It's about becoming a conscious gatekeeper of your own inner space, deciding what gets in and what stays out. Reclaiming your vital energy from daily drainers. We talk about the big stressors, the major life events that knock us off our feet. But there's something else, something quieter, more insidious, a kind of inner friction. It's the cumulative effects to those small daily annoyances, the constant low-grade irritations that rub against our peace. It's like walking with a pebble in your shoe, not a major injury, but over time it wears you down, drains your energy, makes everything feel harder. This isn't just about feeling bad, it's about a fundamental depletion of your vital energy, the very life force you need to pursue your purpose, connect with loved ones, and simply enjoy being alive. Beyond the obvious. We often know the big things that stress us out. But this inner friction, it thrives on the subtle stuff. The things we dismiss as no big deal, but which consistently chip away at us. Your peace kryptonite might not be the demanding project deadline. It might be the colleague who constantly interrupts, the friend who only talks about themselves, the cluttered kitchen counter you face every morning, the notification sounds that constantly pull your attention. It's about looking beyond the obvious stressors. Take some time, maybe with that journal again. What small, recurring things consistently leave you feeling drained, tense, or just less than yourself? Don't judge them as petty. If they affect your peace, they matter. Is it a specific type of conversation, a certain environment, a recurring thought pattern? Naming these subtle drainers is the first step to neutralizing them. You can't fight an enemy you can't see. Shine a light on your personal kryptonite. The toll on your system. This isn't just in your head. Being chronically bothered, even by small things, takes a real physical toll. Every time you feel that jolt of irritation, your sympathetic nervous system kicks in, the fight or flight response. A little bit of stress is normal, even healthy, but constant, low-grade activation, that's different. It keeps your cortisol levels elevated.
Cortisol, the stress hormone, is helpful in short bursts, but chronically high levels contribute to inflammation, weakened immunity, sleep problems, weight gain, and even cognitive impairment. This state of constant wear and tear is called allostatic load. Your body's working overtime just to cope with the perceived threats of daily annoyances. Furthermore, it impacts your vagal tone, the health of your vagus nerve, which is crucial for regulating your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system. Low vagal tone is linked to poorer emotional regulation and resilience. So that feeling of being drained, it's real. Your nervous system is literally getting exhausted by the constant friction. Protecting your peace isn't just a mental game. It's essential for your physical health and longevity. Shifting the absorption setting. Consider Mark, mid-50s, senior manager in a high-pressure corporate environment. He wasn't bothered by the workload itself, but by the negativity, the gossip, the complaining, the subtle undermining between colleagues. He felt like a sponge, absorbing it all. He'd come home utterly depleted, carrying the weight of the office atmosphere. He couldn't change the culture overnight, so he focused on his internal absorption setting. He visualized himself not as a sponge, but as having a kinda Teflon coating. When negativity came his way, he consciously practiced acknowledging it without internalizing it. He'd listen politely during complaint sessions, but mentally repeat a mantra like, "This is their story, not mine," or "I observe this energy, but I don't absorb it." He also became strategic about his interactions, limiting time with chronic complainers and seeking out more positive colleagues. He didn't become cold or uncaring, but he stopped letting the ambient negativity permeate his inner state. It was a conscious, daily practice of adjusting his internal filter, deflecting what wasn't his to carry. He started leaving work feeling tired from the work itself, yes, but not drained by the emotional static. Replenishing energy throughout the day. All right. So you identify the drainers, you understand the biology, you work on your absorption setting, but you also need active replenishment strategies, not just waiting for the weekend or vacation. I'm talking about creating micro sanctuaries within your demanding days. These are brief, intentional moments to reset and recharge. Forget just scrolling social media on your break. That often adds more friction. Try these evidence-based practices. 1. Sensory reset. Step outside for 60 seconds. Feel the sun or wind on your face. Notice the sounds, the smells. Ground yourself in physical sensation. 2. Breath focus. Set a timer for 2 minutes. Close your eyes, if possible, and focus solely on the rise and fall of your breath. Simple, but powerful for calming the nervous system. 3. Awe moment. Look at a picture of something vast and beautiful, nature, space, or recall a memory that inspires awe. Awe has been shown to reduce stress and increase feelings of connection. 4. Movement snack. Stand up, stretch, walk around for 3 minutes. Gentle movement helps release physical tension where stress often gets stored. 5. Gratitude pause. Intentionally bring to mind one small thing you're genuinely grateful for in that moment. The warmth of your coffee cup, a helpful email, the fact that you can breathe. These aren't about escaping your life. They're about weaving moments of deliberate peace into it, counteracting the friction and actively replenishing your vital energy, one small sanctuary at a time. mastering the crucial space between trigger and reaction. We've talked about the triggers, the inner fortress, the energy drain. But where does the real transformation happen? Where is the exact point you reclaim your power from the grip of being bothered? It lies in a space, a tiny, often overlooked gap. The space between the trigger, the annoying event, the irritating comment, and your reaction. Most people live with that space collapsed. Trigger happens, bam, reaction follows. Automatic, conditioned. But mastering that space, learning to deliberately pause within it, that's where true freedom resides. It's the control room of your inner world. The space within. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the horrors of Nazi concentration camps, observed something profound even in the midst of unimaginable suffering. He saw that even when everything external was stripped away, dignity, possessions, health, loved ones, there was one freedom the captives could not touch: the freedom to choose one's attitude, one's response to the circumstances. He famously wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." This isn't just philosophical poetry, it's a fundamental psychological truth. That space exists whether we perceive it or not. The practice is learning to widen it, to inhabit it consciously. When you feel bothered, that's the stimulus. Your habitual reaction, snapping back, fuming silently, replaying the event, is one option. But in that pause, however brief, lies the potential for a different choice. A choice aligned with your values, your peace, your desired inner state. Recognizing this space is the first step towards mastering it. It's the ultimate human freedom available to you in every single moment. Mapping the chain. To master the pause, you need to understand your automatic reactions. It's like being a detective investigating your own inner landscape. This requires reverse engineering your reactivity. Get that journal out again. Think of a recent time you were significantly bothered. Now map the chain. Trigger. What exactly happened? Be specific. E.g., colleague interrupted me mid-sentence in a meeting. Thought. What was the immediate thought that popped into your head? E.g., he always does this. He has no respect. Feeling. What emotion arose from that thought? Name it precisely. E.g., anger, frustration, feeling dismissed. Behavior. What did you actually do? E.g., clammed up, felt resentful, complained about it later. Do this for several instances. You'll start seeing patterns. The same triggers often lead to the same thought patterns, which ignite the same feelings and behaviors. This mapping isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. Once you see the chain clearly, you can identify the weak link where you can intervene. Often, it's challenging the automatic thought before it escalates into the overwhelming feeling and reactive behavior. Seeing the mechanism makes it less powerful, less automatic. Awareness anchors in daily life. Okay, so you recognize the space, you understand your reactive chains. How do you practice staying in that space, especially when life is busy? Formal meditation is great, but the real magic happens when you integrate mindfulness into the flow of your day. Mindfulness in motion. This means using brief awareness anchors throughout your activities. Stuck in traffic? Instead of fuming, bring your awareness to the feeling of your hands on the steering wheel, the sound of your own breathing. Waiting for the microwave? Notice the sensation of your feet on the floor. Listening to someone who tends to annoy you? Focus on the physical sensation of hearing, separating it from the story you're telling yourself about what they're saying. These aren't about zoning out. They're about grounding yourself in the present moment, using simple sensory input as an anchor. Each time you do this, you're strengthening your ability to pause, to observe without immediate reaction. You're training your awareness muscle right there in the trenches of daily life, making the deliberate pause more accessible when you really need it.
Pre-planning with implementation intentions. You know, certain situations or people are likely to trigger you. Instead of just hoping you'll handle it better next time, you can proactively script a calmer response using a powerful behavioral technique called implementation intentions. It's a simple if-then plan. If trigger situation occurs, then I will calm response. Be specific. Examples. If my mother starts criticizing my choices, then I will take a deep breath and say calmly, I appreciate your concern, Mom, but I've made my decision. Or if I feel overwhelmed by emails, then I will close my inbox for 5 minutes and do the sensory reset micro-sanctuary practice. Writing these down makes them concrete. Rehearse them mentally. The beauty of this is that it automates the desired response, creating a new pathway in your brain to compete with the old reactive habit. When the trigger hits, your pre-planned calm response is more likely to come online, helping you navigate that crucial space effectively. You're not leaving your peace to chance, you're designing it.
The daily disciplines of inner stability. So, we've journeyed through the triggers, the fortress building, the energy leaks, the power of the pause. But here's the truth. Unshakable inner peace isn't a destination you arrive at and then just stay. It's not a passive state. It's an active verb. It's a practice, a discipline. Like maintaining physical fitness, you don't just get strong once and stop training. You cultivate inner stability through consistent, conscious choices, day in and day out. It's about the small, deliberate actions that, compounded over time, create a resilient inner core. Kindness over criticism. When you do get bothered, and let's be real, you will, perfection isn't the goal. What's your first reaction? For many of us, especially high achievers, it's self-criticism. I shouldn't have let that get to me. Why can't I handle this better? We beat ourselves up for not being perfectly serene. But here's a counterintuitive truth, backed by research from people like Dr. Kristen Neff. Self-compassion is far more effective than self-criticism for building resilience. When you stumble, when you react in a way you regret, treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a good friend in the same situation, that's the power move. It involves 3 core elements. Mindfulness, acknowledging the suffering without exaggeration. Okay, this is hard right now. Common humanity, recognizing that imperfection and struggle are part of the shared human experience. I'm not alone in feeling this way. And self-kindness, actively soothing and comforting yourself rather than attacking. Self-criticism just adds another layer of suffering and often keeps you stuck. Self-compassion allows you to learn from the experience, regulate your emotions more effectively, and get back on track faster. It's not weakness, it's a source of profound inner strength.
Reframing annoyances in real time. Gratitude isn't just about writing down 3 things you're thankful for before bed, though that's good too.
Functional gratitude is about actively using appreciation as a cognitive tool to reframe annoyances as they happen. It's a mental Aikido move. When that irritation flares up, can you pivot, even for a moment, to something related that you can appreciate? Stuck in traffic? Instead of focusing on the delay, can you feel gratitude for the car that protects you, the music you can listen to, the fact you have somewhere to go? Annoyed by a demanding colleague? Can you find gratitude for the challenge they present, which pushes you to strengthen your boundaries, or for the job itself that provides for you? This isn't about pretending the annoyance isn't real. It's about consciously shifting your focus to counterbalance the negativity. It widens your perspective. It reminds you that even within a frustrating situation, there are often elements of good, elements of privilege, elements to be thankful for. Practicing this consistently makes it harder for annoyances to completely hijack your emotional state. You're actively changing the channel in your mind. Embracing discomfort for resilience. Look at the lives of people who embody a certain groundedness, a resilience. Whether it's McConaughey talking about embracing the yellow lights and red lights of life, or the Stoics deliberately practicing voluntary discomfort, like taking cold showers or eating plain food, there's a common thread. They don't just seek comfort. They understand that embracing inevitable discomfort, leaning into challenges rather than constantly trying to avoid them, paradoxically builds profound inner strength and peace. When you constantly try to shield yourself from any form of bother, you become fragile. Your tolerance for frustration shrinks. But when you accept that life will involve annoyances, setbacks, difficulties, and you choose to meet them with courage and learn from them, you become anti-fragile. You actually get stronger through the stress. So, the next time you feel bothered, ask yourself, what can I learn here? How can this challenge make me more resilient? Can I view this not just as an irritation, but as resistance training for my soul? Shifting that perspective, seeing discomfort not as a failure of peace, but as an ingredient in building it, is a game changer. Conscious input choices. Ultimately, your inner state, your baseline level of peace or agitation, is like an inner climate. And just like the external climate, it's influenced by what you allow in. You are the designer of this inner climate. This means making conscious choices about your mental and emotional inputs. What information are you consuming? Is it constant outrage-inducing news and social media? Or are you balancing it with uplifting, informative, or calming content? Who are you interacting with? Are you spending significant time with people who drain you or people who inspire and support you? What is the quality of your internal self-talk? Is it predominantly critical and negative, or are you consciously cultivating self-compassion and encouragement? Designing your inner climate isn't about creating a sterile bubble. It's about being a mindful curator. It's about recognizing that every podcast you listen to, every conversation you engage in, every thought you entertain is either contributing to a climate of calm and resilience or a climate of friction and reactivity. Take inventory, make deliberate choices, actively cultivate the inputs that foster the inner peace you seek. Because unshakable peace isn't found, it's built. Day by day, choice by choice. Conclusion: the unshakable you. So, there it is. The path away from the constant hum of being bothered. It's not a magic trick. It's not about changing the world outside. It's about mastering the world inside. Recognizing the hidden hooks, like that dopamine trap of outrage. Architecting your inner fortress, not with toxic positivity, but with real acceptance and strong, authentic boundaries. Reclaiming your vital energy from those quiet daily drainers by identifying your personal kryptonite and creating micro-sanctuaries. Mastering that crucial space between trigger and reaction, using the power of the deliberate pause, just like Frankl taught us. And finally, embracing peace as an active verb, practicing self-compassion, functional gratitude, leaning into discomfort, and consciously designing your inner climate. This isn't about becoming numb or emotionless. It's about becoming free. Free from the tyranny of petty annoyances. Free from being constantly pulled off center by external chaos. Free to choose your response, to protect your energy, to live from that deep, quiet core of strength that resides within you. You have this power. It's not reserved for gurus on mountaintops. It's your birthright.
The journey to unshakable inner peace is ongoing. It requires awareness, intention, and practice. But every time you choose a conscious response over a conditioned reaction, every time you practice self-compassion instead of criticism, every time you reinforce your inner fortress, you become more anchored, more resilient, more you. Don't let the world's noise drown out your inner signal. Protect your peace like the precious resource it is. You deserve to walk through life with a sense of calm command, unshakable, not because the storms don't come, but because you've built a foundation strong enough to withstand them. If this resonated, if you felt that spark of recognition, let that fuel your practice. Like this video if you found value here. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And subscribe for more insights on navigating life with strength, purpose, and peace. Most importantly, comment below. What's one small step you'll take today to cultivate your unshakable inner peace? Let's continue this conversation. Keep walking your path. Keep building that inner fortress. Stay strong, stay centered, stay unshakable.